I'm sorry, everybody, but I gotta tell you the truth. The lies, they have to stop because it's getting out of hand. Everybody's worried and fearful, and everybody's panicking that they're gonna run out of food. You're gonna run out of food, you're gonna run out of water. You gotta stockpile, you gotta prep every day. That should be your life's goal. Quit doing anything else, quit living, quit enjoying your life in general, and only focus on tomorrow. And tomorrow there will be no food. You will not have anything to eat. All the shelves in the store will be empty. Your fate is sealed and life as you know it is over. And that's just not true. I don't think it's true. I've been to the stores. I've seen the shelves. My pantry's full. Yeah, there's some things that I can't get exactly what I want when I want, maybe in one particular store, but I can still get it. But what I really want to point out is that there's a select few people who are actually really concerned about this. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that yet. So stick with me. I want to share something with you that maybe no other prepping channel is actually telling you, because the lies have to stop. Welcome back to the channel. It is Kevin here, and I'm bringing you guys another update. And please stick around because I have some very important information I want to share with you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like because it will be worth it, and comment below because I really do enjoy communicating with you guys. Also, please share this video and the channel with friends and family who need to hear this message. And the message is that the growing problem amongst the prepper community is centrally focused around shortages. And just here recently, I've noticed that the shortages are pretty isolated. The shortages still exist in many ways regarding automotive industry and real estate. That's pretty much a given. Between semiconductor chip shortages and labor shortages and raised interest rates and just the amount of time it takes to build for construction, ground up new construction, between planning, permitting, just acquiring the funds, zoning, holding meetings, and then breaking ground and getting things done and built. To build a house, I mean, you're probably looking at 90 to 120 days to build a house. But that's after you've gotten all the development and all the pre-planning and everything else done leading up to that point. And, barring any unforeseen delays. But, I talk about the next big news event, the next big event that's really just going to wipe us out and set us back to, to the early pandemic levels where you couldn't go to work, you couldn't earn an income, you couldn't go out and go shopping and buy the necessities you need. You were pretty much bound to wherever you lived and subject to sitting on your hands idle, hoping and waiting for the government to step in and provide some relief as we waited for whatever sickness to dissipate. I don't think that's going to happen again anytime soon. And even if it did, I don't think that most people would be able to be brainwashed into believing the stories that they'll be told on the news about, whatever germs are in the air. I don't think it'll work like that again. So I do think the next news event is coming, but at the end of the day, you're not going to run out of food. You're not going to run out of food. You're not going to go hungry. You're not going to starve unless you are one of these few select people. Because if you've been paying attention and watching the news or reading the newspaper, listening to talk radio, if you've been on YouTube, right now where the primary focus is. And it's on energy, it's on climate, it's on bringing production back to America, to the US, being more self-sufficient and not relying on the aid of other countries and their exports. But at the end of the day, if you really focus at the subject's core of the prepper community. Right now, the key focus is food shortages and empty shelves, people walking through grocery stores and highlighting shelves that are empty and bare. I don't know if you guys noticed, I haven't put together empty shelf video in quite some time. And the main reason why I haven't is because they don't exist. And I don't want to bring you guys a bunch of lies and nonsense just to promote fear and panic and chaos and, you know, this fear mongering. I don't need to do that. I got other stuff I got to do. I got other stuff I want to bring y'all that I think is way more interesting, way more fun, and way more beneficial than just sitting here trying to pretend and scare you that we're running out of pasta and cooking oil. Like, that's not the big picture here. Like, me personally, I haven't missed a meal. I haven't gone hungry. Like, I am not afraid and concerned. Yeah, I'm not living haphazardly and I don't have anything in my pantry, in my refrigerator, in my freezer. But at the same time, this isn't consuming my life. And this isn't what I base all my decisions off of, is how many cans of chicken can I jar. That's not what we're about. So, or at least that's not what I'm about. But there's an exclusion of people. Specifically, there's an exclusion of people that I don't see in the prepping, stockpiling, pantry, food storage realm. And I think there's a common denominator amongst these people that excludes them from this. And, you know, and we see it. We've seen it, and we're going to continuously see more and more of it over the next few weeks, months, potentially years. And those who go hungry, those who need to worry and panic, those who need to fear and need to prep hard. And when I say prep hard, I mean stash everything away, bury your cash, you know, get off the grid. Don't let anybody know you exist. There's going to be a few people that are going to need to do that if they don't pay attention. But if you listen to what I have to say and you really focus and open up your mind and open up your eyes to what's really going on, you're going to see that there may not be anything to worry about. There really isn't. So now you're like, all right, Kevin, get to the point. What are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Who needs to worry? Who needs to fear? Am I one of those people? What do I not know? What am I not being told? What secrets are being kept from me? What lies are being pumped to me on a regular basis? Like I said, I'm standing here in front of my pantry and it's not empty. It's not empty. And this is just in the house. This is just here in the house, not in overflow, not even in Florida, not even, you know, we got another section here. The refrigerator is full. If I can get the door to open. This freezer's full. Yeah, not worried about it. So you're saying, like, what am I missing? Okay, well, let's talk about it, okay? Let me set this down so I can really talk to you. All right, let's go. So the people that I see or I don't see worried about, discussing, concerning pretty much what every prepper channel is going through right now and warning and convincing everybody to do, which is, you know, food shortages are abundant, shelves are empty, get all you can, keep it while you can. Pretty much the 1%. And it goes a little bit beyond the 1%, but basically those who have plenty of money are not concerned, or at least aren't publicly being vocal about their concerns about potential food shortages and empty shelves and their need to stockpile and prep and only do that and nothing else for their lives. They don't really seem to have any concern with it because the next big news event, the next big wave, the next big shock, whatever pandemic problem, you know, we need to work through as a people, as a country, as a world, because it's not going to be isolated to just one country. You can already see now, based on what's going on overseas, different conflicts and things like that, we're all interconnected. You know, You know, it's like throwing a pebble in a pond and it just ripples out continuously. Like you can't, this the butterfly effect. You can't just have one event happen and think it's isolated. It actually has a lasting ripple effect, especially in the economy and gross domestic product and trade, imports, exports, and just living in general. There's a huge interconnection between us and everybody else. So, but the thing is, we're going to see an attack. We're going to see an attack on finances. We're going to see an attack on money, your cash, your savings, your checking, your retirement, if you have one, or if you think you have one, you may not anymore. Stocks, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Shiba Inu, everything is going to be affected. And what we're going to see in the future, really soon, more than likely, is just inflation, hyperinflation, price increases, gouging, record profits from companies and CEOs, giving, high-ranking employees raises and stock buybacks and, an abundance of cash and capital and cash flow. But the little people, the middle class, the working class, those on a fixed income, those are the ones that are going to suffer. Those are the ones who are going to see food shortages in the result of food being on the shelves, available for purchase. Probably more so than you've ever seen before. And then, the reason why you're going to see a shortage is because you're not going to have the money. You're not going to have the wherewithal, the financial ability to afford to buy the food, to afford to drive to the store to get the groceries, because fuel, I think diesel's up to $5.38 a gallon or something, some new national high. In addition, diesel, speaking of which, has pretty much doubled almost in price over the last year or so. I think it's about a year. It's about double. So you got to realize that the transportation cost for everything you need that ends up in the stores, the transportation cost has just been doubled. So that's going to add to how much it costs to buy the same product, even if that product didn't see any other increase anywhere else. The fact that it costs more to deliver it means it's going to cost you more to buy it. And if you're not doing things today, if you haven't done them before, but if you definitely haven't done them before, you're not starting today to do the things that you need to do to ensure that you have the money available, the financial prowess, ability to pay these higher inflated prices, hyperinflated prices on just basic necessities, you are going to be in trouble. Big trouble. You coming? Yeah, you're gonna be in big trouble. Now, I'm not just gonna leave you hanging. I'm not just gonna leave you hanging there and let you know that your fate is sealed and doom and gloom and all hope is lost. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to help you understand what could and possibly should be done to make sure that you don't find yourself in a situation where food shortages are really going to affect you. And that starts with having a plan. Now, the 1% that I mentioned, I'm talking about people in power. I'm talking about people who probably earn over $200,000 a year. I'm talking about politicians, athletes, celebrities, movie stars, attorneys, doctors, anybody that has the ability to earn high levels of income where price really doesn't affect them at all. Those are the ones you need to pay attention to. And in America, it's probably about $200,000 to $300,000 a year in annual income. That pretty much, and it depends on your area and your family size, but pretty much $200,000 to $300,000 a year will put you in a category of being able to live and sustain life without the need to check and see if you have money available to buy basic necessities, to fill up your tank and see what the total price is versus going into the gas station and putting 20 on pump 12 before you start. And the reason why these people don't fear, you know, they're continuously living their lives and going on about their day to day, is because they know that things are going to cost more, but they also know that no matter how much it costs, more than likely they're going to be able to afford it. And as food prices continuously rise, and so let's just narrow this down to food, fuel, and housing. As these continuously rise, and interest rates, because interest rates have a big part to do with this, as those continue to rise, they're going to continuously find new ways to increase their income to afford the new higher costs. So that is their plan. Now, in comparison, or let's just say in contrast, what is your plan? What is the overall plan, the general plan of the prepper community? What's the plan? Oh, buy as many beans and buy as much rice and beans as possible. Dehydrate your food, can it, keep it, hide it, store it, and hunker down and just wait for catastrophe. Oh man, I don't know about you, but I can't do it like that. I can't do it like that. And then the best part about it is we're gonna get down the road, and years down the road, and we're gonna realize that this was unnecessary to this degree. I'm not saying completely. You should have, you know, enough food for 3, 4, 5 weeks easy, but not 5 years of beans and rice and white wheat and sugar, in case, you know, because that's just not gonna happen. But you know, that's the difference between them and us, or maybe you and them, because they have a plan, and their plan is proactive, and it is scalable, and it is more than just saving for the rainy day. It is, you know, it is putting them in a position so that a rainy day can't even occur, can't even affect them. And let's just put it like this. You've seen the celebrities, you've seen the movie stars, the rich and famous. They can, like Jay-Z said, fly higher than weather. Because if it's raining, they can get on a G5, G6 and go where it's not raining. You know, they have that ability. They have the money to do that. You know, they can be anywhere they want to be, whenever they want to be. If where they are has no food, guess what? They're going to go where there is food. Plain and simple. End of story. No debate about it. It's not going to affect them. But the key is that they have a plan. And if you don't have a plan right now to really attack the next big news event, the next big problem that's gonna just basically wipe everybody out, or wipe out the little guys and girls, the system does not discriminate against gender. Whether you were born male or female, or you decided to identify as one now, doesn't matter. All it cares about is the dollar. That's it. So, what's the plan? Well, the plan is you have to do the best you can to combat inflation. Let's just say it's 2x. We're not gonna go 10x. We're not gonna do Grant Cardone's 10x just yet. Let's start easy. Let's create a manageable goal and crush it, and then set another goal and continuously crush that and inch your way up. This is scalability I was telling you about. So diesel prices, let's just say diesel prices are affecting transportation of basic goods and necessities, food primarily. It's double. So let's work on a double. How much were you spending on your basic necessities? Not even your total budget, basic necessities. If you got a house, you're pretty much, if you got a house with a mortgage, you're locked in. Don't worry about it. Yeah, property taxes and insurance are gonna go up, but not to this degree. And let's just say you rent. Well, you got a little bit of time depending on the terms of your rental agreement or your lease. But let's focus on fuel and food right now. What was your budget for food and fuel? Whatever it was, if it was $200 a month, make it $400. If it was $500 a month, make it $1,000. We need to develop ways for you to increase your income to be able to afford the increase in inflation of these necessities. That's number one. So there's numerous ways that we can do that, and we can discuss that in a future video. I actually had somebody mention in a comment the other day on my van video that they had, I don't know if they had a van or a camper or a travel trailer, but they had basically some recreational vehicle that you could live out of. It had a place to sleep. It had facilities to use the restroom, the ability to cook a meal, shelter from the elements, and they had a few of them. And what they did was they would rent them out, and they were making some pretty good money. And I've done the research too. Now my van I plan on using pretty much exclusively, but any rig you get, if you go out and you own it, you have the potential to rent it and put it on, I think it's Outdoorsy, and there might be another one. I can't remember the name of the app or the site. It escapes me right now. But realistically, you could easily pay the note on a recreational vehicle, another form of housing and shelter. You could easily pay that in a week worth of rentals for that. So if you have one, or maybe even considering about buying one, and I'm talking about trying to find ways to double your budget, your income for food and fuel, that could be a very good way of pulling it off. You go buy yourself a travel trailer. Let's say you go buy yourself a travel trailer for, a new travel trailer 2022, and you might have in it $500 a month. And that'd be a really nice travel trailer at $500 a month. Let's just say you got $500 a month in it, and you rent it out for 2 weeks. Well, guess what? You just the first week you're gonna cover the note. The second week you just made $500 profit. You go 3 weeks, now you're making $1,000 profit for the month. You're able to outpace this inflation, these food price hikes, the fuel costs. You're able to increase your income and have the ability to keep up. And then maybe you decide, hey, this is going so well, I'm gonna get another one. I'm gonna get another one and rent it out at the same time. You gotta have a plan, okay? Because if your plan is literally just to stockpile all you can right now from the grocery stores, while the grocery stores are setting limits on what you can buy, and you're limited on what you can buy anyway based on your income, based on the amount of available space you have to store it, you're limited. When have you seen someone publicly display concerns for food shortages? Hell, Biden ain't doing it. He talks about it, but now he's moving on to green energy and farmers using compost and manure instead of fertilizer. He ain't worried about food shortages, These people, they know the truth. They know what's up. When have you seen anybody with ample funds really concerned about this matter and this issue? Because they know as long as they got the money, they're gonna be able to afford the food. And that's what they're not telling us right now, is that the food shortages are coming by way of higher prices. That's what they're not telling us. So if you really want to prepare, if you really want to prep, like I said, make sure you have the basic requirements for your stockpile, your survival, 4 or 5 weeks maybe, plenty of water, plenty of toiletries. Make sure you have that. But after you have that in place, and once you have a solid plan for that working, then we gotta talk about that money. We gotta talk about that money, because that's gonna be the difference. That's gonna be the game changer. I had to take my dog for a walk. He was getting a little antsy inside the house. But that's gonna be the game changer, You gotta do that. And when milk, I think Michelle went to the store yesterday, I think she said milk was like $8 a gallon or something crazy. But guess what? There was plenty of milk. And at that price, there will continue to be plenty of milk because everybody can't afford it. So the key is you got to do what you can do. And prepping really should include the financial component because, like I said, everything's just going to become more and more expensive. And if you don't have a plan, to offset the new cost, then you should worry, you should fear, you should panic, and you should devote your whole being, every breath you take to stockpiling all you can right now, food-wise, versus stockpiling cash flowing assets and of different ways of having the ability to produce income to help you afford tomorrow, because that's what's going to hit us. We've seen a lot here recently, and we are seeing the next one occur and unfold slowly, and no one's really worried about it and really speaking on it. But the food shortages are coming through inflation, through higher prices. Dan Price mentioned on Twitter the other day that Starbucks is announcing price increases. So why are they announcing price increases? Because obviously they're announcing price increases because their costs have risen, so they need to pass that along to maintain profitability. At the same time, Starbucks had record profits for 2021, and I think they gave the CEO like a 30% raise to somebody who was already making millions and millions of dollars every year. And like I said, $200,000 to $300,000 a year puts you in a position where you don't really need to worry too much. The CEO was already making upwards of like 30 million bucks a year, and they got a 30% raise. And this is no longer about the cost of goods sold. It's no longer about what the transportation costs really have increased to get the products to and from the consumer, or just to the consumer. It's about profit. It's about money. And like the pandemic, the supply chain crisis, and the disruptions was a green light for pretty much everybody, business and government, to just hit you over the head hard. And they're doing it. Tell me if I'm wrong. Please comment below if I'm wrong. They are hitting you over the head, and it is beyond availability for most products. It is now about greed and profit, and the fact that they can, and they're going to suffocate and choke out the working middle class, the fixed income, pretty much to the prepper community. They're focused, and they know they got you too, because you want to stockpile all you can. So they continuously share this fear and this panic and reasons to want to continuously buy as they continuously raise their price, because they know you're buying. They know you will. And, they know that they have the ability to provide you with more. They can fill the shelves, they can have a surplus and overflow, and they can lower the price, but they're not, because they got Jerome Powell, he had the money printer on in 2020, but some people say he turned it off, but it's still on. He's just not using it. He's just giving the ability to businesses and corporations, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, Amazon, to print their own money through profits. I think that some of the car manufacturers haven't quite done it, but the car dealerships have. And you've seen it in additional dealer markups and higher sticker prices and add-ons and fees and just buy-ins for allocations just to even get the next Expedition, just to get the next F-150 Lightning. I can only imagine when Rivian actually starts really putting out production, which they're anticipating like 400,000 units for 2022 or 2023. And with Ford and Amazon backing that as major shareholders that have already taken losses in their investment to get to this point, they're going to make that up in inflated prices. And they're in control. We're not. So the best chance that you have right now as a prepper is to, like I said, make sure you have the basic necessities. Like even Dave Ramsey with his debt program. And the number one thing is to have your emergency fund. And then beyond that, you just start wiping out debt, moving on to a point where the only debt that you have and hold is a mortgage, if any. And you know, he's highly against credit and credit cards and things like that, but a mortgage is fine. But that's where we need to be. As a prepper community, that's where we need to be. We need to be focused on the emergency fund. That's 4 or 5 weeks of food and necessities. From there, we need to be knocking out debt and building up cash flow producing assets and the ability to have money and not live paycheck to paycheck. Even if you're on a fixed income, have the ability for your fixed income to create a surplus so that you can afford more. If you're on a fixed income, but you have $300 a month in, just to say, unnecessary expenses through hair, nails, clothing, shopping, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Starbucks runs, anything that you can do without. I'm not saying go full minimalist here, but if you're on a fixed income and you got $300,000 a month or $300 a month in expenses that are unnecessary, just because you're on a fixed income doesn't mean that you have to struggle. So you could wipe out those unnecessary expenses and increase your available disposable income by $300 a month, even being on a fixed income. And that's going to be very helpful for you. Let's just say your necessities budget is $300. Well, if you wipe out what's unnecessary, you just gain that $300 to 2x it to cover these added costs that we're seeing. And then from there, you continuously move on and grow and find more ways of producing more income, passive income, lowering your expenses to be able to afford these new higher priced, hyperinflated foods and basic necessities that we're going to need day to day. So I hope this isn't like ended up to be like some crazy rant, because I feel like it is, but I hope you guys are really understanding the message that I'm trying to deliver to you, which is that I think the focus should be more on the money than the food. I think the food is going to be there. I just think it's going to be very, very expensive and hard for most people to afford, which is ultimately going to lead to the headlines reading food shortages and empty shelves. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share. I would appreciate it, and I'll see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye.